You're now watching B2B Vault, the Biz-to-Biz podcast, hosted by Alan Kopelman, powered by Nationwide Payment Systems, the #1 solution for payment processing.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of B2B Vault, the Biz-to-Biz podcast. And today we have a special guest today. All our guests are always special because we provide educational information for business owners and entrepreneurs. Whether you're own a business or you're thinking about operating a business, starting a business, this is the podcast for you. And B2B Vault is sponsored by Nationwide Payment Systems and NPS One, our gateway that allows you to have an open API and all the payment links that you need to operate your business. And also our smart invoicing product called Smart Invoicing with NPS One. So we're going to dive in today with Roee Hartuv from Willingness to Pay, and their website is willingness2pay.com. We have all his information in the show notes. So if you need to reach out to him. So Roee, tell us about a little bit about yourself and about your company.
Yeah, so I think like many of our listeners, I started in software sales. I've done that for 15 years, climbed my way up. Some successful, some less. 6 years ago, COVID hit, and I decided to move to the dark side of advisory and consulting. I've been, I don't know if there's a term, but let's say generic go-to-market strategy, or not generic. Generic sounds bad, but all type of go-to-market strategy, sales, customer success, a bit of demand generation. A year and a half ago, I came to the conclusion that focus is better, and I decided, or I chose to focus on pricing and packaging. I came to the conclusion that pricing and packaging has the greatest ROI out of all our go-to-market or growth levers in our toolkit. And getting pricing and packaging right has the biggest ROI. In a lot of cases, it's the quickest time to see revenue.
Yeah, there's definitely, when you're talking about software, we're seeing a software explosion right now.
Yeah.
Right. Every day there's, I monitor sites like Product Hunt and other sites and AI sites, and you see literally hundreds of companies launching.
Yes.
And
it's easier with AI, right? So everybody can launch relatively easy a new software, test it out. So fantastic.
Whether it works or not is a whole nother story, because we get people and they're like, oh, we got a merchant account and we got it on Stripe, and then they shut us off, and I'm like, okay, well, we need to get a log into your software, and we want to see that it actually works, because that's a huge issue sometimes. Is does this work, right? Is this product a working product, and are there bugs in it or whatever it is? And that's gonna also, but so willingness to pay, like so software companies come to you to figure out their go-to-market strategy.
Mostly focused on pricing and packaging. So B2B companies that, usually you feel it that you have a pricing or a packaging problem. So let's break it down. Packaging is how you bundle the different features and functionality within your product. So how do you sell? The classical setup is good, better, best, like McDonald's, right? We've got small fries, medium fries, and large fries.
Right.
That's the classical way that companies did software. So let's take all the features that we have. Let's analyze 60% of the features that are used by most of our customers. Let's put them under the good kind of bucket. Second bucket, let's take 30% of the more advanced features, and the 10%, the very, very advanced features, let's put them under the advanced package. We've got a slightly different approach. It's focusing and building the packages around the customer's job to be done. When you think of it, let's package the features and functionality to serve our customers, and we have different types of customers, most likely. Some are less mature, some are more mature, some need slightly more advanced capabilities, etc. So if we package it around the customer's jobs to be done, around their pain points, we believe it's easier to sell, it's easier to expand, etc. So that's the packaging part. Pricing is a classical pricing. In B2B, however, pricing is a bit different. I think we all have intuition on how pricing works in the retail space because we're all consumers. However, B2B is slightly different because the price or the cheapest price is not always the best price.
Yeah, it's, software, when you talk about, when we talk about software sales, there's so many SaaS companies out there, software as a service. And then, it's like, okay, they have whatever, the gold, the silver, the gold, and the platinum, or the
Yeah.
whatever, the basic, the plus, and then the, enterprise level, right?
Uh-huh.
It's confusing sometimes. Okay, well, what do I need, you know, and what am I going to get what am I getting from the price? And the other thing, I see a lot of these companies, especially whether they're B2B or B2C in the software industry, a lot of them, they run very quickly to solutions like Stripe and other,
Mm-hmm.
aggregators. And a lot of times, payment processing, today is all bundled together.
Mm-hmm.
Like we
Mm-hmm.
even have SaaS companies that work with us. So, we enable them like, okay, well, we can bundle that together with the payment processing. And
Yeah.
I think like, I'm in this 25 years ago, software was software, hardware was hardware, and merchant services. And you basically, a merchant, a business owner would have three separate contracts to deal with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Today, everything is bundled up. So the software company is offering their product. And if there is an element of payments, that's also included in the software. You
Mm-hmm.
seeing that as well from your clientele?
Yes, yes, definitely. So first of all, specifically to your point, the entire payment process is something that we also touch because obviously, if you change how you bundle your features products, if you change how you price it, the entire quote to cash, that entire payment collection process needs to also adapt, and that's a big part of what we're doing. Now, the crossover between software, hardware, both obviously, right? And that's when you ask me what do you guys do? It's not B2B software, not SaaS companies, it's B2B.
Right.
And there are differences, but there's a lot of common type and when you focus on pricing and packaging, there's a lot of common elements into that.
Yeah, like we see a lot of companies today, even in the point of sale world, when they're bundling up their product, it's hardware and software as a service.
Yeah.
So it's
To give
no
you an
more,
example,
huh?
I'm currently working on a project. Uh, this company has built a software that a schedule software for small, very small businesses. So clinics, take for example clinics, a doctor, the entire
Right.
scheduling needs a software, of course, and this is their their software company. However, 2 years ago, they decided to go into the payment or offer payment solutions. So they have a hardware component, point of sale component, and yeah, they take percentage of the transaction. And all of a sudden, we're now talking maybe we no longer want to be a software company. We want to become a payment company because that's where the big money is. That's where you take percentage of every transaction, every appointment scheduled or an appointment that happened, and let's give the software for free.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot of
it's
that. There's a lot of that going on now. We work with several companies, and one of the things that we do, even our product, NPS1, we
mm-hmm.
bundled everything together. So you get we have two packages, the basic package and then the smart invoicing package. So
Yeah.
The basic package is $39 a month. The other package is $69 a month. And then we bundled in all the everything. So the statement fee, the PCI fee,
Mm-hmm.
there's no fees. That's it. One
Yeah.
fee, one monthly fee for, and you get everything.
Uh-huh.
Because people don't want to see all this nickel and diming, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. And even like we have a real estate SaaS company, and one of the things is, oh, if you process, on each platform, because they have like 4 levels.
Mm-hmm.
So on level one, it's 25 grand. Level two, it's 50. Then it goes to 100, and it goes to 250. So if you process that much, then we waive the SaaS fee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And there's no SaaS fee as long as you maintain the payments. If you want to use
exactly.
the software and then still get your rent through Zelle or whatever you're doing, you have to
Yeah,
pay for the software.
yeah,
But we
exactly.
give it for free if you're processing a certain amount of payments.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah,
You
and then
mentioned nickel and dime, which is another point. There's a level of complexity with every pricing and packaging structure. And when you design a pricing and packaging, you want to play with that complexity. Because complexity could be an advantage in some cases. So, from a design perspective, where do you want to add that complexity? Just to give you an example, as you said, if you're just taking, I forgot how you call it, your base package,
right.
right? You just want it simple. 25 bucks, I don't remember the number. It's 25 bucks. Just, yeah, it's simple to understand. You just need the basic stuff. Fantastic. However, you want the more advanced stuff, I can now start to introduce a bit more complexity. So it's not like a flat rate get it all, or in your case it is, but I'm saying like in other cases you would want to add a bit more complexity because the customer is more mature. They usually started off with the basic stuff and then they now and are educated, and you can basically play around with that complexity in order to make sure that you capture name of our company, the each customer's willingness to pay.
And one of the things we do is everything like what we do with on our platforms, everything is white labeled for the customer. So
Mm-hmm.
they're upload in the portal, they're putting in their logo, and then once they put in their logo, the the SaaS product will render
Mm-hmm.
the colors of the
Yeah.
screen and everything around their logo. So if their colors are blue and orange, it's going to render a blue and orange dashboard for them, not only for them, but when it goes to their customer, they're no longer seeing like, oh, I'm paying willingness to pay, and there's a big stripe logo down there.
Uh-huh.
That's all gone. They just see the company name and that's it, the name of the company
Yeah.
they're paying,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. They don't see anything else. They don't see our branding. They don't
Mm-hmm.
see any extra branding. And, for even for small companies, you know, that makes it it looks good. And people start a lot of times with our small package,
Yeah.
and then they go and they say, well, we're actually going to start doing more invoicing. So now we need this, or we need the more complex payment links that you get
Mm-hmm.
with the other
Mm-hmm.
package. So people go, they'll go up. And, you want to get people, and that's a lot of times how you get customers. I see it with other clients that we have that people will get the basic package and then they'll go to the next package as they grow or become more comfortable with the software.
Exactly. And that's the right way to design, coming back to the topic of packaging, right? You want to have that natural growth. So as the customer grows, they grow with you. And
Right.
yeah, as they mature, they want more capabilities. They want to extract more value. And of course, if you're giving more value, you're also getting more revenue.
Yeah, and the one thing I always talk to when I'm talking to founders of different software companies, I always ask them, I go, well, what's your implementation plan? And they go, well,
Okay.
what are you talking about? Implementation plan. I'm like, well, you have to, you make the sale, you sign the person up. Now they're ready to start using the software. So you have to have the implementation process of how you're, setting them up or training them. Is there a training call? Like, what are you doing? Because sometimes I'll talk to people and they'll go, well, we're having this bottleneck. And I go, what's the bottleneck? okay, we did, 20 demos, we signed up 10 people. And the problem is out of those 10 people, only one or two activated. And I go, okay, well, what's your process?
Yeah.
And then they go, we don't have a process. So I go, well, you better get one, or you do what one of my other clients we started doing with them is we have a 199 setup fee. And then
Okay.
once you start processing that, then you get your basically it's like rebated back to you through the
Mm-hmm.
system.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets rebated back. So that may once people paid that, now they have skin in the game, and and they're going to go through because in those cases we have to get data from them and put the data into the software, do a data transfer for them.
Yep.
So you have to figure out like you don't want to go, oh, I did 20 demos, 10 sales,
Yep.
and then those 10 people, they're not you got to activate at least 90% of them.
That's a fantastic point, and there's a misconception in the SaaS world, uh, and this misconception I think relates back to how investors see SaaS. In SaaS specific, investors don't want to like to see services, right? It's all about the software, and the way they evaluate the strength of your software is it like, can this be installed or managed without selling additional services? And that used to be considered good. In your case, for example, you're talking with us, small businesses, they don't have that knowledge. You have to serve and sell professional services in order for them to properly onboard the system, because if you don't do that, they won't be able to use your product correctly. And I think we're starting to see that shift, and we're starting to see more and more companies understand that, yeah, the margins are much slower when you sell services. However, the stickiness and the retention rate is much higher when you do support your customers and how they use your solution.
So give me like 5 things like when a customer comes to you, like what are the like main 5 things like you help them with so they're going to have a more successful software launch
Yeah, so
or
packaging is the
changing
first
their
thing.
pricing strategy.
Yeah, so we start off with packaging. Our motto is it's it's not how much you charge, it's how you charge. In B2B, it doesn't really matter if it's like $12 or $14 per user. It does, but it's less important than how do you bundle the different features and everything that we talked about earlier. So packaging is the first thing. This is usually where we start off. And then what are you what are you charging on? What is that pricing metric? That's the next point. It's very important. Are you charging based on transaction? Are you charging based on users or seats? Are you charging based on outcome maybe? So that's the other discussion. Obviously, the more connected to what drives revenue for your clients, the better the metric is. So for example, seats is not necessarily drives revenue for your customers. It's actually on the flip side. It drives more seats, more costs, and they don't like it. However, if you connect your metric to transactions, invoicing sent, that is already connected to a better type of metric. So I think that's number 2. Number 3 is testing it out. We know that pricing and packaging requires testing. You can't, or in most cases, you won't want to roll it out to all your customers without even testing it. So that's something that we help with. Obviously, how to roll this out, how to implement the entire quote to cash in B2B, in the payment process, how the entire FP&A team or operational COO, how they use it. It's something that we help with. So that's number 4. And number 5, migrating existing customers. At the end of the day, when we roll out new pricing, we have our existing customer base, and it's very difficult, if not done right, to not, sorry for the language, to piss off our existing customers that we're changing the pricing, which usually comes with a price increase. So that's something that we help
Yeah,
transition.
when you get a new customer, sometimes you have to migrate things like migrate over. They're switching from one payment company to now your payment company. You have to migrate not only their customers, but sometimes some of their customer data over also.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's right.
know, we have that all the time. Like some systems we have use inventory. So
Mm-hmm.
in our invoicing software, we have an automated way to tap into their existing inventory system
Mm-hmm.
and bring it all over.
Yep. So that
So,
migration, of course.
so it's super important to be able to help customers with that or automate. Everybody talks about AI, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it is just plain just automation.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay. Anything else that you want to share with us that people should know about that's important in the industry right now?
Yeah, so again, looking at how AI, yeah, we can't do a podcast without talking about how AI is influencing that, and AI is also changing how we price and how we package. So yeah, maybe I'll leave with this. In SaaS, our margins are 80-90%. That's software margins. But with AI, we know that it comes with a cost, and the margins there, numbers change, but let's say 50% is a good number to talk about. All of a sudden, serving a customer is not zero. It's not zero cost. And that really changes how the entire industry is now pricing and packaging. And I think there's a lot of conversation on what is the right pricing structure and mechanism to
Yeah,
incorporate those AI.
yeah. I think also when you talk about AI, so let's say somebody's looking at four different software products, prior to AI, you're probably sitting down making a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah,
Today you go, okay, I'm looking at this company A, B, C, and D. You punch all their information into, whatever you're using,
yeah,
ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, right? And you go, okay, give me a spreadsheet breaking down these four companies.
yeah,
And in
that's right.
5 minutes, you have like a whole spreadsheet of,
Mm-hmm.
what are the features of each one of these companies, their pricing, this, that, and the other. So it makes, obviously, if that's part of your competition, right, you
Yep.
need to be doing that too. So you know
Mm-hmm.
what your competitors are charging.
That's right.
Sometimes people don't always go for the cheapest company. They don't always go for that. And the other thing is, I think a lot of companies have gone to where like they don't answer the phone, everything's an email or a chat bot, and it's very difficult to get information. And you know, I think that companies have to really rethink the that they need human support
Yep.
sometimes.
And I think that's a fantastic point to finish off with. In B two B, it's not the cheapest option. It's a lot of other things that you could do in order to win a deal and to be able to correctly acquire the right customers.
Right. So if people want to get in touch with you, who are the best people what are the kind of customers that you deal with? So,
Again, B2B companies that would like to redesign their pricing and packaging, and the channel is LinkedIn. That's the fastest way.
okay. And what's the best way for people to find you? You're on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is the best, yeah.
Okay. And then you can go to Roe's website, willingness2pay.com, and get more information there.
Mm-hmm.
And probably follow him on LinkedIn, and you can see what's going on in the world of B2B SaaS and software because it's definitely a growing industry. Yeah, I don't even understand all the coding stuff. I keep reading about vibe coding. I'm like, I don't know if you know what that. I sort of know what it is, but I'm like, okay, that's just getting way out of hand. But with the amount of software companies that come out every day, working with somebody like Rowie is going to help you have a much better launch or reprice or rebranding or
Mm-hmm.
relaunching of your product. and to be more competitive in the market. Because that's the whole thing today is what is your go-to-market strategy? GTM, a new acronym for everybody to learn, right?
Yeah. Go to
All right.
market.
Well, thank you for joining me on the podcast today on B2B Vault, and have a great day.